Okay, hi, good morning. So I'm John Cascan. I'm an associate professor up at UH Manoa in the Department of Nursing, and I've been with CHOW since the year 2000. So I've got a long history going back all the way. Interesting. Anyhow, I've been with CHOW for a long time and can have been through three executive directors, and it's been a constant improvement. So one of the things that happened when I first came into CHOW, it was simply a needle exchange program. All we did was exchange needles. The offices were downtown. We were constantly searching for a fixed site. The board was tiny. I believe about 3 people on the board regularly, and we met very spasmodically. So it was an organization that really wasn't doing very much. I don't know what the number of needles exchanged were at the time, but it was certainly tiny compared to now. And finally, we got a wake-up call from the main funder of CHOW, the Department of Health, said, you've got to shape up or shape out. He met with the board, or the very small board, and so we went ahead and we did hire somebody. This was about 2008, 2009.
Hi, I'm Chad Shimobukuro, and I am the treasurer for CHOW. I've been on the board for 4 years.
Can you say a little bit about where the finances were when you came into CHOW and how they transitioned over time?
Well, when I first started with CHOW, we had one primary funding source, which is from the state of Hawaii, and our cash flow was a bit tight because we only had one funding source. And so we really had to work with our partners to ensure that the money was consistently coming in on time, and we were really waiting for the reimbursements to come, and so that constrained us for what we could do for the community. Since then, we've actually diversified our funding sources to multiple funding sources, and that has really helped the cash flow improve for us. And now we are able to grow and really do a better job helping our community. So one great thing that we were able to accomplish is really to sustain our own accounting or our finances in-house. When I first started on the board, we were outsourcing our accounting function. So we have a finance manager in-house who was doing the day-to-day operations and the bookkeeping. But as far as the accounting and the reconciliations, those were done outside by an external CPA. What's really changed now is we were able to bring all those functions in and really help solidify Kavika, our finance manager, to really empower him to take on those tasks himself, and that really helps the organization understand its goals and to ensure that we're aligned between the accounting, finance, and all the outreach work that we do. So that's really been a great transition.
So my name is Michaela Wrinkle, and I've been with CHOW for a little over 4 years, I believe, and started with CHOW on the board. Actually was recruited by another board member, and the reason why it intrigued me was because I wanted to be involved with an organization that was going through kind of the exciting changes that were happening there. So that was the reputation that was starting to get out, and that's kind of what pulled me in right away, was wanting to be part of that. And I came in right after the board and the organization had finished their strategic planning process, and we're kind of implementing that strategic plan. So that's the timeline of when I came in with the board.
And talk a little bit about your experience in the implementation of the plan. What did that look like as far as the board's involvement, and any insights you have as how that was linked to or aligned with a learning organization?
Right. Well, I mean, number one, we were very aware of the strategic plan, I think, I mean, I'm not a staff member here, but it seems like the plan is, everyone within the organization is very aware of the plan. And there are different ways that I think that becomes prominent. One is that at the board meeting, at least twice a year, I think it actually happened more than twice a year, that the executive director reports would be structured around discussing the strategic plan. So the actual format of the report was to give specific outcomes on each of the strategic plan goals, and let us know, the board know, what changes were being made, and then we would from that learn where we needed to put our efforts and do more planning based on that. So I think having that plan, it's an active document within the organization, and I think that's a key piece that fits with the learning organization, that it's a feedback loop, that we're learning from it. Another piece I think that is key at CHOW is how we've just recently finished kind of fine-tuning the vision piece again. Again, I think it's not like we did it and now we're done and it's set aside. That was 4 years ago and off we go, that we're frequently revisiting this. So we just came up with our kind of, it's not even 1 minute, but just that really focus in on what is it that CHOW does, and redid that process. And that process was another piece of learning organization. That process involved all levels of the organization. It involved the board, certainly you as the executive director were very involved. It involved staff, and it didn't involve us separately. It involved us doing meetings together, and kind of we would come up with ideas, staff would meet, it would funnel back to us, and through that process, I think really honed in on, for example, the changes that we're making around the vision and direction of the organization. Yeah.